Hey, it's Russ, and that is Lauren, and this is the Infectious Groove Music Channel here on YouTube. It is Vinyl Sunday, so we are talking through some of our favorite vinyl records that we own, and a lot of times this ends up being stuff that we picked up just randomly while we were out. Today is no exception. Last Sunday, we talked about the 7-Year Itch, the best of Collective Soul that was out there, and I think on the same day, didn't we? I think we found this the same day.
We did, yeah.
Def Leppard is one of those bands that has at least 3 different greatest hits that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And this is the latest one that it's kind of like Aerosmith has like 10 greatest hits records. Yeah. And they have a newest one out, but this is the latest one. This is called The Story So Far. Yeah. This is not my favorite Def Leppard compilation by a long shot, which we'll get into later, but we were out, we saw it, it's easily accessible. We'll get into the pricing and all that later. But it was one of those things where it was just like, well, we don't have any Def Leppard in our collection, and this is a good start.
Sure.
So we always talk about the 4 points through everything: packaging, sound, the price, and the value. As far as packaging goes on this, I will let you start on this because I don't hate it and I don't love it.
I mean, I don't know.
You don't. Well, as far as like the cover art or the gatefold or anything like that,
it's Def Leppard. Like, do you know what I mean?
Okay, but therein lies an issue for me. Like Def Leppard has one of the most iconic logos of all time, I think, and they have so much good what's the word? I want to say iconography, but that's not right. Imagery, so much great imagery, and this like. Whoever did the art direction for this cover, it was like, here's the iconic logo. And then also like I used Adobe just to, like it. There's so many different ways you could have gone with the cover art.
Yeah, I get that.
In my opinion.
That's fair. That's fair. I think, for me, any Def Leppard cover of anything really, post hysteria is just like, well, you're just slapping that logo on something else.
Fair. Yeah.
It's so I don't see anything, good or bad because they peaked. They've got the logo, just slap it on.
The front and back cover is just like so plain Jane for me for a Def Leppard thing is all. And the packaging, for this type of thing, I always complain when there's not paper inner sleeves. Like I kind of get it, but I don't. Or when there are paper inner sleeves instead of like with this, I understand that it's just a greatest hits album and the price on it's around like $30 or $35 depending on where you get it. But it's just very, to me, if you're gonna do, and I think I've said this before on the channel, if you're gonna do paper inner sleeves, at least have some good art direction on them. And like for this, it's literally like somebody just moved a bunch of pictures of Def Leppard around and was like, and to me, it's like, well, then don't bother giving me a printed
it's very. It feels. Yeah, I know. It feels very scrapbooky.
Yeah. Which I get I understand that with the great sets, and you say the story so far. I understand what they're going for with the art direction. I just don't have to like it.
Okay.
Right? As far as sound goes, Def Leppard, Mutt Lange is one of the best producers in the history of the game. Def Leppard stuff always sounds great. I don't have any issue with any of the sound, anything. Like there wasn't anything along the on the record where, I said to you at any point, like, the original pressing of this sounds better, or it was all
sharp.
Track listing, I have some issues with. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I know. I remember when we were listening through this, because this is you've got 4 sides that you're dealing with, and there's like no one perfect side.
No, yeah. Every side's got a giant flaw.
And that's a bummer,
Well, it's hard. I understand Def Leppard's been around since before the dawn of time, and they have a good, varied career. There's a lot more to them than just Pyromania and Hysteria. And I understand that. I like a lot of their later stuff. Like for me, one of their big later hits, Promises. Like, well, how is that not on this record? And then there's other very questionable choices from stuff earlier in their career that is on this.
Who knows the logic behind it now? So talking about track listing on a greatest hits kind of thing, and I don't know what could be done to fix this, because for me in my head, I don't know. I could just be the way my brain is organized. I think back to like the Beatles, the Red album and the Blue album. It's just chronological order. You know what I mean? And for me, that's like just take me through. Just take me through.
We could do a whole other video.
We can probably. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I've seen it done both ways very well.
Okay.
And a lot of times production and sound will cause that. Like, it's like you have to group these songs together
Mhm.
because, you know, or even if somebody changes their direction in their overall, the sound, you know, the music that they make, you can be like, wow, this is way out of place
Jesus,
next to
woo,
that. Yeah.
ping pong.
But Def Leppard's Def Leppard, man.
That's
They've
right.
been making Def Leppard music, you know,
Yeah.
since 1981 or whenever On Through the Night came out. I mean, it's the same, you know, they've been making the same music for 40 plus years now.
Yeah.
So I don't need this to be chronological. Def Leppard, I don't
That's fair.
need at all. Let's say, I think, Promises would sound fine right next to When Love and Hate Collide, I'm sorry, Bringing On the Heartbreak, you know, to go way different. So, there's little things that, like, Pour Some Sugar on Me. I think putting the album version of the song on there is lazy. Like,
we had
yeah.
before we put it down, we were like, do you think this is going to be the single version or the album
I
version?
want
Like, what beginning is it going to be?
From the video,
Yeah.
I think the intro is like 100 times better. And they have my favorite Def Leppard best of is the one called Vault. I think they get it right on that, and that starts with the correct version of Pour Some Sugar on Me. And that is, by the way, Vault is available on vinyl. It just wasn't where we were that day, and we had no day. If the two had been sitting on the shelf, I far and away would have picked up Vault before. Before the story so far.
Dot, dot, dot.
Yeah. As far as price goes, we paid, I want to say, right around $30 for it. I think that's fair, you know, for a 2 LP. The longer the channel goes on, the more I sound like old man, where I'm like, nowadays, but nowadays that's about fair. For me, this one, and we discussed in last week's video, about like the value proposition for a greatest hits album in the first place. This one here is a little bit more tricky for me because it does have some value, but I don't even know if it's the full $30 worth.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that for sure. Because, like, I know at some point we're going to pick up, like, full depth, you know, the Def Leppard albums you need to have.
We're gonna end up picking up Pyromania and Hysteria.
That's
at a minimum. Probably throw it there, not Adrenalize. But there'll probably be like a third one we throw in there or whatever. And we will listen to those far more than this. Yeah. So, I don't, let me say, I don't, and again, I think everything has its purpose, right? Like, for example, if we have people over and we want to throw, like, there's not a lot of people who know every track on Hysteria like we do, or Pyromania. Like, this would be better to throw on.
Sure.
And there's probably songs on here that me and you think of the clunkers on each side. There's probably someone we know.
That's my Def Leppard song.
That's my jam.
Yeah.
We're going to be like, great.
Enjoy.
I'm excited for you in this next 3.5 minutes of radio friendly unit shifters. For me, there's two ways this could be of value. One, if you look at this track listing and you go, oh, they knocked it out of the park, then, you know, like, if you don't have the issues with the track listing we do, then that's a value for you. And the other one is something I don't encourage anymore, but I used to be that guy. If you're the guy who has to own every release, then there's value in it for you. We always try and share our vinyl opinions on Sunday. We, you know, have a limited collection to work from, but if you ever have a vinyl related video that you want us to do, or just information on vinyl or whatever, please leave a comment. Let us know. Let us know what you think about this particular Def Leppard record. If you would, please share the video out on your socials or music forums or whatever else that helps the channel grow. But as we always say, thank you so much for watching.